So I decided to give a step back and let's try to answer the question as I originally intended. Let's see what's creative and what's director. I'm going to anticipate you that in the end, basically, creative director means how to be a good tyrant, but we'll reach that. Creativity basically is like jalapeno peppers. Basically, these are padron peppers, these are typical from Spain, and the thing is that unlike jalapenos, some are spicy and some are not. You never know which one is going to be spicy. So there's this social ritual where basically everyone is grabbing the peppers, well, to see who gets the spicy one. The spicy ones are really spicy. So when you get one, it's like, whoa, spicy, and everyone is laughing. And basically that's creativity. In your mind, all ideas, all the peppers are good. So you are basically trying all the peppers to see which one is the spicy one, the spicy. Tim Schafer defined creativity as basically a golden goose that lives in your head for some reason, and whatever you feed the goose, you will get ideas, the golden eggs. Given our alcoholic background, I mean, it's in the title, our name is Tequila. For us, it's like an alembic. Basically, an alembic is, you know how it works, basically, right? I mean, you put a stuff, usually grain, potatoes, whatever, and in the end, you get spirits. In this case, there's an alembic in your heads, and that's the alembic of creativity. Unlike the alcoholic version, you feed the alembic with all your experiences, all your emotions, everything you see, everything that you touch, everything you say, everything you hear. Any smell, any image, any color is going to be stored in your head and is going to start being distilled. This is a process that basically defines every one of us. This is not just creativity. I mean, everyone, any living being with a brain has this natural process. It's, well, it's endeavored, it's a standard, and it's a really, really slow process. It takes years. Basically, everything you put inside is either alone, together in company of others, awesome things, or not so awesome things. Basically, everything you put, everything you do, your decisions, the decisions that you didn't make, everything is going to be basically memories and drops in the alembic. Years later, that will come out. And, well, I must say that it takes a lot of practice and effort to use a hockey stick as a remote. But all the psychology is basically resumed in this. This is how it works. So, let me give you an example. Vander Caballero is the creator of Papo and Joe. Papo and Joe is an indie game that basically tells a very nasty story, which is basically the childhood memories of Vander, how his abusive, alcoholic father beat him, and how he was a monster, and how Vander had to create this fantasy to basically survive. The thing is that Vander used his childhood memories of Bogota in Colombia to create this oniric, beautiful world where the crappy favelas are suddenly these little boxes piled one over the other, and graffitis of really relevant Latin American artists are decorating all this world, right? I'm from Navarre. I don't expect you to know where Navarre is. It's in northern Spain. I think we are mostly known for running off the bulls, and that doesn't matter. The thing is, for me, this is my home place. These long bridges, abysses, aqueducts, castles, caves getting into the earth, mysterious caves where witches celebrated Aquelarres, which is witch reunions. And this is the place where I got lost when I was a child, that I had to get out using a flash of a camera, because back in the 80s we had cameras that work with RAÚL. Abandoned factories in the middle of the forest that suddenly now are a decoration for a river, or keyholes in the middle of nowhere that are invite you to witness mysteries. I literally live in a desert that is surrounded by thick forests and icy snowy mountains. So, in short, I live in the Legend of Zelda, right? That defines my experience as a human being. Basically, the ordinary turns extraordinary. Honestly, until I went to university, I really thought that everyone had a 1,000 years old dungeon in the basement. I'm not kidding. So, how it applies to RiME? If you don't know about the game, RiME basically is an evocative experience set in the Mediterranean. We are using the lights and colors of this beautiful place. Imagine that it's like Ibiza of Mallorca, with less nightlife. And you are a child. You are supposed to be a helpless child, right? And this is something that basically we took inspiration and references from Spain. Why? Well, first, because it's practical. We are Indies, we don't have a lot of money. So unlike Ubisoft, we cannot send people to Nepal. So, but it was really convenient because the thing is that it was full of all the beautiful places that we needed. And we didn't know. We didn't know it yet. For example, this is a scenario that in RiME, one day I was discussing what was supposed to be the mood to the art team, and suddenly I rediscovered that in my mind I was describing something that I had already witnessed 25 years earlier. I had no idea, I didn't remember that. But it was there, and I was totally shocked to see how the concept was literally what I was describing. I mean, this concept was done with no reference of that. That came later. So, every game is unique and special, right? No. Why? Well, because the alembic is really slow. I mean, the alembic works with roots, cultural roots. So we have a shortcut, a creative shortcut called stereotypes. So the stereotypes, as offensive as they may look now, were supposed to be a tool to basically simplify things, to describe things. It's about highlighting difference. So, in the context of, for example, Disney World's It's a Small World, right? You have 15 minutes to teach children with little to no knowledge of geography or cultural sensibilities about the people who are living in the planet. So, how do you do it? Well, you tell them how different they are. If we focus on Spain, again, this is pretty embarrassing to me. We have the bullfighters, paella, siesta, fiesta, crisis, and the dancing flamenco lady, right? It's fast, you get it, gets tired pretty fast, and is lazy, but it's effective. If I look to Norway, and this is not my personal view of Norway, I assure you, I looked into the internet 2 days ago, and one thing, if you look for Norwegian fantasies in Spanish, set mature filter on, and second, well, I was expecting something like that. Vikings with round helmet, black metal, grandpa chopping ice on the snow, sure. Trolls, I mean, I don't know a lot about Norway, like Ellen DeGeneres is saying, but I'm pretty sure that this is a really narrow view of Norway. Same for games. I mean, tell me 5 games in all history where a Spanish character is not a matador or a bullfighter. I mean, there's only one, and basically it's Resident Evil 4, where all the characters are Mexican. So, Norway, at least you get more variety. Well, okay, if we look at the Spanish games, you won't see any bullfighter for many reasons. I mean, but you will see a stuff that for us is very familiar, and for people of South Spain can feel exotic. Again, Norway, and this is supposed to be positive stereotypes. If you look at Japan, you get Vikings and oil rigs, World War II, and, well, Norse mythology, and Frozen. So, again, I used Pinterest, and this is what I found in 5 minutes. I didn't find any Norse mythology or Viking. I was really shocked with the bridge. You need to explain me what's that. But in short, if I look to indie games, basically, either Dragon, Old Boy, Airlock, Amphora, Among the Sleep, Tesla Grad, The Park, and through the forest, through the woods, sorry. Through the woods. You see that there are those glimpses of the alembic. It's not obvious. Well, maybe the Aurora Borealis is, or maybe the boat, but you get something that for me, as an outsider, feels really special. And It feels special because it's special. It's unique. It's something that only you can do. And that's good because creativity is about universal emotions. Again, if we are studying Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki-san had no intention of showing us in Europe how a mailbox is supposed to look like, right? It's about human relationships. Because in the end, the difference between the stereotypes and the roots is that, well, the roots are about connecting the dots. It's about what makes us common, what makes us equal. So the difference is that the stereotype is static, roots dynamic, monolithic, timeless, get tired, meaningful, totally superficial, right? So why do we use stereotypes? Well, because stereotypes can be really helpful. For example, Grim Fandango is basically on the paper, is noir and Day of the Dead. It's a win. I mean, it's a great, fantastic game, and it's a great experience because basically it's reinventing it. The stereotype is the beginning, not the end. And that's, well, why stereotypes are useful in games, because this is a classic definition that I totally made up yesterday, but someone asked me what the game is, so I said, oh, well, originally there were toys, entertainment, and then art. So probably it's a combination of those three. And then I remembered that I'm pretty old, and this is a game, because now games can be a product, a service, can be tools, can be stories, can be, well, even simulation and technology. So what does it take? I mean, why this is important for a creative director? Because a creative director, and we are approaching the director part, is basically a person who needs to know a little of everything, every single process, every single tool, every single technique, every step in the process is something that you need to know about. Unfortunately, that means that probably you will master only one or two fields in your career. But in exchange, you, for example, based on my experience, in different projects, you get to learn architecture, mathematics, shooting, bow and arrow, riding horses, yeah, super useful stuff in today's world. And the thing is that this is very important because, again, being a director means setting and holding the vision. What's the vision? The vision for a project is basically the mojo. And the mojo is the concept, the story, the universe, the visuals, the gameplay, the audio, everything, how feels, how plays the game is basically responsibility of the creative director. And that's why there's so much water in this picture, because, well, it's not an easy job, and it's not probably one of the best to enjoy in the industry. Passion and sacrifice is important, but most importantly, it's a team effort. I mean, in most cases, games are a collective effort. You can do a game alone. That's great, actually, that's super great. But it doesn't matter how many ideas, how much imagination you have, which is essential for being a creative director, if in the end, you cannot explain it. I mean, you are supposed to be the driving force in the project. It's not about you, it's not about your ego. You are not the hero here. Basically, you are the guy who is behind the scenario. Telepathy is not the standard in this industry yet, so that means that you have to have great communication skills. You need to be crystal clear when explaining something, because again, any difference in the vision is going to have catastrophic consequences. You are the one who is inspiring others. I mean, the team, and this sounds quite creepy, are an extension of you. I mean, all their minds are connecting to you, and you are not, probably you are not the origin. I mean, the creative director usually is the one who has the idea, but that's not always the case. You are the nexus. You are the one who is basically taking care of all the ideas of the others, and you are letting them to grow up. That means that at the beginning of any project, you are pitching your ideas. You are pitching your concept and your vision, your mojo, to your own team. I mean, pitch, the presentation. They are your friends. What can go wrong? Well, anything. In a presentation, basically, the team your teammates, your partners, can shoot down your ideas. And that's good. Because one single vision can have many interpretations. And what you want is this, working as one, and not that. That can happen. That's real. And it's very dangerous. So we have tools for that. For example, we have made the presentation. Your team likes the concept, the idea, and then you start, well, Googling for references, right? No. As Lee Petty said yesterday, one problem that we have with visual references is that nobody looks at them. I mean, there are literally thousands of images. So what we do is basically creating mood boards. And mood boards are used for characters, mood, atmosphere, layouts, level, and everything. This is supposed to be a really, really tiny piece of the big problem of creating the whole project, but it's something that you can munch. It's something that people can make their own. And this is really important because, again, everyone needs to feel that they are driving the project. They are the ones who are making the project. If you think that you are basically the master of commander, you are wrong. Organization is key because, again, everyone is putting their ideas into the project, and that grows really, really fast. And I don't know if you are young, too young for this, but remember Akira, the movie Akira, Tetsuo? You expand and you explode. So we have tools like, of course, wikis like Confluence. You manage projects with Perforce. You have back reporting tools like Jira. You have, obviously, agile panels. And you have lots of pictures of monkeys, which you print. And you create a book. This is something new for us, at least, where we discovered that even if you put the tools on the table, people don't use it because tools are just that. I mean, people are the ones who make it useful or not. So this agile programming thing is mostly useless because, well, I mean, it's bullshit. So what we do is we make a really, really brief guide to the project. And it's like where you are visiting Spain. You don't get a huge book with the story of Spain. I mean, most of you don't care. I don't care. So the thing is that you have these travel guides, and these travel guides are essential knowledge of the project, which is great because that way you can start digging and start researching on your own in this environment and ecosystem that we created. Leadership is crucial because, again, as a leader, you are supposed to be a master, but not master as a master and commander. You are supposed to be a teacher, not a drill sergeant. You are supposed to be a leader, not a boss. I mean, you are the one who is basically putting everything forward, and the others are following you, and they are supposed to follow you because you are a leader. The thing is that everyone has a brain, and everyone thinks differently. That's amazing. I mean, that's basically what drives the creativity in a project forward. If all of us had the same thoughts, basically everyone would be gray and boring. So instead of trying to make a fish climb a tree, we take advantage of that. We have people of many origins, sexual orientations, beliefs, culture, abilities, backgrounds, and that basically creates a league of extraordinary people, and we let them fail. This is crucial. We let them fail because exploring and experimenting, you can get in the end wonderful things. If you tell them how to do stuff, they will only do what you tell them to do. If you tell them what you want to do, and then surprise me, like in Ratatouille, you get much better results. This is one of the biggest dangers in a project, which is micromanaging. Again, you are not the captain because you say you are the captain. You are supposed to be the captain because people believe in you. You are not supposed to be the one who is telling the art director, the narrative director, how to do stuff. I mean, they have their own criteria. You are the one who is basically taking care of all the quality in the final product. So you can suggest things, you can say what a character would do, you can say how an environment should look, but you are not writing the story, you are not adding more effects. And if you are wondering what the monkey with the gun means, that's how producers see creative directors. because, yeah, a monkey is fun, guns are not fun. The thing is that we have the power of making decisions who are going to hugely affect the budget, the time, the look and feel, and the quality of the final product. So every decision we do, every change we make is going to have an impact. That's why any shot could be fatal. The thing is that the creative director oversees all the process. You are supposed to review and approve all the meaningful milestones. You are the one who is overseeing with the leads that everyone is going according to the plan. The leads and the producers are the ones who basically are your ears, your eyes, your hands. They are the ones who are executing the game. Again, remember, you are directing the game. You are not supposed to be, well, shooting the missiles. You are going to be in the trenches. That's true. You are the one who is going to go first into the battle. And unfortunately, you are going the one who hires people because you are going to find the best talent for your project, the best talent for the vision, and you are, this is something that we don't discuss that much in public, you are the one who lays off people, at least in Tequila Works. That means that no harsh feelings. This is really hard for people who are supposed to be empathic. I mean, we are dealing with human beings, but again, we are working for the vision. We are working for a project. So it's like dating. I mean, you are a match or you are not a match. It's not, as they usually say, it's not you, it's me, right? So it's true. You are supposed to have the guts to trust others, trust yourself, and work for the vision, not your ego, not any personal purposes. I talk about inspiration, and again, how you manage the inspiration in a group. The thing is that you need to feed it constantly, not only with cakes, but with experiences. For example, in Tequila Works, we have what we call tequila shots. These are internal jams that we do. Basically, it's like double fines and essay for night, but, well, the name is cooler. But the concept is the same. Thank you. We are trying to ask ourselves a very simple question in every jam. Where's the beautiful and where's the crazy? Something can be beautiful, but it's derivative. Something can be really, really crazy, and nobody will understand it, right? So this is mostly a therapeutic process that I recommend to everyone. When you are deep into a project, and I'm talking that now even, well, especially indie projects, last years, because of finances or lack of finances or whatever, working on a single thing for 5 years or more destroys your mind, destroys your creativity. Remember, the alembic keeps working, and you are constantly feeding it. So you are feeding it with routine and, well, complaints about bugs and milestones. What you are going to get 5 years later is quite depressing. So this can be stopped. I mean, it's like going on vacations, but cooler because you make gains, and you can create new stuff that can end up in the project or not. We also do field trips, as you saw earlier, and yes, we are not Ubisoft, so for us it's catching a train or renting a minivan and going to explore places. Fortunately for us, Spain is full of these special places, so we don't have to go to Nepal or the Bolivian jungle, as the creative director of Ubisoft told me, which is quite a challenge, especially when they went to see the narcos and how they, well, did the smuggling with the cocaine and everything. Life is the other aspect that you need to care a lot. Not only your life. I'm going to put myself as an example. I haven't slept today. So, not because of party, well, not only because of partying, it's because I was working. I mean, yesterday I was doing the presentation, so I had stuff to do, right? But you need to care about your team. Remember, they are human beings. You need to know them, what the motivations, their personal life, what make them feel good or bad. They are supposed to be, well, for them you are supposed to be a father figure, never a friend, because, well, remember, you can fire them, so you cannot friend with people like that. But most importantly, because you are supposed to be a mentor figure for them, right? So we have a lot of fun. We are also champions. That means that either internally or externally, you are the one who is defending the project. Either being evangelist and, well, praising the wonders of your project, or defending your teams of, well, the dangers of the outside world, or dealing with the publisher, or presenting new builds, or going to E3, or whatever, you are supposed to take in and carrying this stuff for them because, well, they are fragile. They are fragile in the sense that they need to take care of their creativity. Remember, they are as creative as you. The difference is that you are a firewall. The internet is a really nasty place. As many of you know, if you have released a game, never read the comments. This is probably the only real advice I can give you today. Never, ever, ever read the comments in any review, because it can destroy you. I mean, you are working for years in a single thing, and then you go to whatever blog or YouTube channel or whatever, and say, crap. Okay. From time to time, executive producers who work with creative directors and take care of, well, not the quality, but making sure that the game is made on time and budget, put you posits and tell you how good you are doing it. In this case, was positive. Sometimes you find, well, a horse head on your table, or the closest thing. Basically, it's a very clear indicative of what's going on. I think they discussed this yesterday, but the creative director needs to predict the future. I'm a sucker for predicting future. When I was a child, I had this book from Rudolf and Robert Das, are two Dutch futurists. They are great engineers. If you read the book, well, as you can imagine, like in Back to the Future, which, well, as you know, last week was the celebration of the 30 years, is not very accurate, at least on the surface. Why? Well, because we are terrible predicting the future. Who could imagine about selfie sticks, for example? So we're going to play a game now. Try to predict the year 2015 from 2005. In 2005, you had Brain Age, Shadow Colossus of God of War. Well, you can tell me 10 years is too much. Let's jump 5 years. Okay, in 2010, you have Limbo, Amnesia, and Octodad. This list was originally bigger, but there was no way you could read it. I have made the resume of this, but you need to take into account two things. Minecraft was launched the following year. Nobody could predict that. Yeah, I know. I mean, the final version. Oculus was launched, founded in 2012. So now in 2015, we're all talking about virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality. 3 years ago, nobody was talking about that at all, right? It's really difficult to predict the future. So the best way to predict the future is to build the future. How? Well, I mean, if you want to be strong, train. It's very simple. Lucky Palmer basically had this hobby of virtual reality. I tried virtuality in the 90s. The thing is that he kept working on that. He really believed in that. Well, now he's flying in Time magazine. And if you look at companies like Apple, it's the same. They keep working on for years on the same idea because they don't give a shit about trends. And this is really important. A creative director creates trends. You don't follow trends. You don't make zombie games because zombies are hot. No. You are making something because that was what you had inside. Remember, the Alembic, again, is a process that takes years. You can take a shortcut, as many clones in the App Store can show you. You can copy things. That should be a temporary solution, not an end, at least from a creative perspective. Conclusions. If you want to be a creative director, you need to remember 3 things. 1, make games. This is very important. It would be surprising for you how many people in the industry have never, ever made the game. I'm talking about the executive level. 2nd, meet the best in your fields. I mean, in every field, there's always a guru. You want to, I don't know about level design, you can visit, I don't know, Cliffy or King Levine, or even better, you can work with him. This sounds impossible, but basically that's what Kojima-san did after Metal Gear Solid 4, right? When his team was telling him that it was impossible to do stuff that he saw it was possible, right? Obviously, we cannot travel around the world like Hideo Kojima, but again, the experts are closer to you than you think. And third, as well, Sir Winston Churchill and that talking train Thomas and Friends said, never, never, never give up. Because you need to deal with humans, you need to trust other people, you need to lead, you need to help, you need to mentor, you need to encourage, you need to inspire, you need to, well, be a good tyrant in the end. So that's it. Thank you. Questions? You can ask anything except RiME's release date. Sorry. No questions? Yes? Which one? Oh, the other mic. Where? Anyway, just speak loud. Well, louder?
All right, we Bergen have a big voice anyways. What was the most prominent problem, you would say, or at least the first things that comes to mind as a thing that you had to struggle with, to work with?
The biggest problem, at least for me personally, is as a creative director, you need to have a deep knowledge of the big picture of the project in terms of finances and strategic decisions. That means that you need to know the accounting of the company, which is really stressful. I mean, because it struggles creativity. How can you be thinking on how you are going to implement 5 models of hats when you don't know how you are going to pay your team in 3 days, for example? And the other thing is strategic decisions means dealing with management and marketing. You don't want to deal with marketing, never. So the thing is that you have to work with them, and they are like the Illuminati. You tell them things, and you never know what's going on. So strategic decisions is something that you need to figure out. And that's why you are doing the stuff. So probably you are working on something, you go to a presentation, you show your staff, and then they say, no, this is not what we discussed. I say, what have we discussed? I mean, I have never met you before in my life. Who are you? Oh, I'm marketing. Oh, fuck. So yeah. That's probably the biggest issue, that and money. Did I answer your question? Yes? Cool. More questions? The guy with the hat. Okay, the other hat. Yeah.
I was wondering, has there been, during the process of RiME, has there been a time when you had to go against the entire team's wishes on something?
Of course, every day. Remember the screenshot with Homer, basically going in the opposite direction? That happens a lot. And that's, I mean, well, that's not supposed to happen, but every project is alive. I mean, it's changing all the time. So you are not making friends, as I said. Sometimes you are going to go against the team, never against the project or the vision. They need to understand why you are doing that. That's why communication is key. That's why we share everything. Because, for example, people get really mad when they are working for weeks or even months on something, and then you say, we are cutting this. So what? No shit. I mean, I have been working on this dynamic water for 1 year. You cannot cut that. Yes, we can. I mean, we have to do it because technical reasons, again, budget, time constraints, whatever. If in the end they understand it, it's okay. One thing is that there's a big difference between leader and having absolute power. My team shoots me down my ideas. And again, that's the best thing that has ever happened. In my previous company, I was supposed to be some kind of overlord or whatever. That's crappy. That destroys creativity. Thank you. Yes.
I have issues in terms of speaking directly to people, but whenever I'm online, I become much more capable of putting reason behind what I'm saying. You know, saying what I'm thinking and all that. But I often get interrupted in real life, and I just have no way of actually seeming high and mighty as a leader. So how do you suggest like dealing with that problem?
Well, I'm gonna tell you a secret. I'm super shy. I cannot speak in public. In fact, it's not me who is talking now. It's a persona. When I'm here, I'm not Raul. I'm the creative director. So there are many tools to help you with that. One is, of course, cloud-based tools, which is very useful, for example, when you are in a meeting and one guy is in Norway, the other is in Denmark, and the other is in Fiji. Lucky guy. So that works a lot. It's better to deal directly with people, again, to make sure that the vision has only one interpretation. Usually that means tools like, WebEx or Skype, that works too. But again, you can use an interpreter. Your interpreter is going to be your producer. The producer is basically the universal translator in game development. They don't only care about time and budget. They are the ones who can translate design, code, art, animation, audio, marketing, and even PR. They can do all that, and more importantly, they can translate creative. For example, Tim Schafer has the similar problem, not exactly the same, but he has a producer who translates all his crazy, impossible ideas into something that is possible, feasible, and people can understand. What I recommend you is, again, you can create a persona, which works for me. Second, is even if for a creative director it's always personal because you are required to be passionate. You are supposed to make sacrifices all the time. It's like Blackadder. I don't know if you're familiar with this show, probably it's too old, yes? Blackadder is about this, well, super nasty English character. Well, actually all the people with the name Blackadder from the Middle Ages till the 20th century. Blackadder is one guy who is always sneaking. I mean, he's a whistle, he's always devising a cunning plan, he doesn't want to go to war. This is World War I. In the end, he makes what he has to do. He actually follows his duty because you are not supposed to be thinking about you. You are supposed to be thinking about the vision and the project. So if you are shy like me, you need to think, like, for example, I didn't sleep last night. The reason I'm talking so fluidly now is because it's not me. When the talk is over, probably I will fall down and I will go to sleep. But for now, it's enough. There are people who can help with that. Human relationships help a lot. For example, we have had that problem with coders and programmers. And, well, the life chapter, making trips together, hanging out, getting girlfriends, whatever, help a lot. I mean, literally, I'm saying this because, well, I mean, there are many people in our team. We are like 60-40, and yeah, well, these things happen, which is good. And that opens the mind and mouth of many programmers. So what's your background, by the way? What are you? Yeah, but what do you want to do? Cool. Okay, well, in the meantime, remember, create games. You can do it alone for now, but my recommendation for you is attend as many game jams as you can. In game jams, you are forced to work with people that are totally unknown to you for 48 hours. That makes wonders. And if not, well, I can give you my email and we can discuss more extensively. But don't worry, I mean, nobody failed in the games industry for being shy or being unable to tell people directly things to the face. If you are the one who is laying off people, yeah, that can be a problem. You're welcome. More questions? No? Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering if you have a skill that you would say is your most specialized skill. You talk about a broad range of experience, but is there one thing, art or maybe technical, that you specialize in?
Okay, my education is I'm a computer engineer, but I also have an education in classical arts since I was a child. So one of the things that I never thought that were going to be helpful in my life is protocol and diplomacy, which my mother teach me, architecture, creative writing, and empathy. Empathy is my biggest skill. And I'm also a level designer, but really bad. Don't tell anyone. We are done? 1, 2, 3? No? If you don't have questions, you can send, I don't know, any comment, love letter, death threats. Yes?
Question.
Okay.
So many of us, it's one thing kind of to put on that persona that you were talking about when you are kind of managing a bigger team and maybe people that you aren't that socially involved with, but a lot of us we're like small indies. We work with maybe just like a few, 4 or 5 people, and they're all our friends.
Yes.
How would you like? Do you have any advice on how to kind of get into that role when the people you're acting for really know you?
I'm going to tell you another secret. Tequila Works started with 2 people, and we were friends. My boss, the chairwoman, is my wife. So it can get more personal than that. And of course, we have discussions. One golden rule is that you separate lives. I guess you know about the 3 pillars, right? You have to separate work, social life, and personal life, blah, blah, blah. So one thing that works pretty well is you have your life out of the studio, and then you have your discussions in the studio. One golden rule to avoid, well, frictions between friends is anything that happens in a meeting room during a creative discussion, brainstorm session, whatever, is professional. At the end, I mean, you can yell at the other. That happens. Sometimes you get really passionate. Remember, we're Spanish, so we're yelling all the time. And at the end, you reach an agreement, write the conclusions, send to everyone, go to the person you have a bad time with, share and shake the hand, say, no hard feelings, sorry. I was defending this. And most of the time, the answer is, yeah, cool, no problem. Any big problem starts with a tiny minor error, and that includes friends, especially friends. So it's better to deal with them where they are small and manageable, because in the end, yeah, that breaks relationships. I have seen too many divorces in the industry. That destroys friendships, and that can potentially drive to depression and, well, really awful death scenarios. So yes, deal with it directly. Never hide it. Even if you have a problem, for example, dealing directly with people, use another person who was present, for example, or anyone who you have really confidence with. Remember, we are most of the time together. If you think that we are like a family, you should know Hello Games. Hello Games in Guildford, creators of No Man's Sky, literally live together. I mean, it's so passionate that basically the families go to the studio to visit them twice a week. So you can imagine how that environment can be. And in the end, they are not only the best friends, they are the best partners, because they know each other so much that basically they don't tell anyone what to do. they know what to do and how to do it. Yes.
I'm a bit curious about the question about you worked with your wife.
Yes.
And again, when you're working on a project, as you say, you put a lot of the influences into you that come out in the games, but you also your mind keeps churning all the time. And then, isn't it hard to separate work and life when you're both working on the same project, and it's kind of hard to keep work at the studio, and then when you come home you have this idea and you need to pitch it right away. It's kind of hard, I guess, to separate those two. Did you make any ground rules in the relationship to how to handle those things?
I'm not going to lie you never ever stop. Well, first, my wife is the chairwoman. She's a legal person, so she's not a creative person. She's great doing what she does. She knows all the regulations, all the rules. She knows how to deal with publishers, all the stuff that I can't do, because I have no idea and I don't want to have any idea. I mean, she's with lawyers all the time. So, yes, every weekend we have this rule, which is from Friday to Monday, you cannot say anything about the company or the project. Only twice in our life we have respected that rule. It always, I mean, we always break it. Creativity is really nasty in the sense that, again, every brain is unique. For example, what fools my creativity is sleep deprivation. That's probably, I'm so high now. The thing is that, well, I sleep very little and very badly, which is not something I should feel proud of. And when I have time on weekends, I have a lot of ideas. And most of the time, she says, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear anything about flying puppies or whatever. Shut up. So one thing that I do is I always have a notebook with me. I usually did it with an iPhone, but, well, the battery runs out, the screen gets broken quite easily. So I have just a plain, old, organic paper notebook, write down my stuff, and a couple of days later, when it's Monday, I pitch the idea to my wife. Most of the time, she says, bollocks, that's a stupid idea. But sometimes she says, whoa, that's a very good idea. That makes sense, which is her way of saying, yeah, cool. And that's how we deal with it. You never ever stop, you never separate your life. But again, that's something that not all the team should do. Actually, you are doing this, you are suffering this process, so the rest of the team don't have to deal with that. That's another skill required for the creative director. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question regarding how you would go to the process of getting to the position of a creative director. Would you work your way through from the lowest rank in the company and up towards that position? Or is there some specific skill you'll want to get when you're doing your education to get that type of job right away?
There was nothing in my education as computer engineer that helped me in get development except artificial intelligence and computer graphics. I started, yes, from the bottom as a junior level designer. I had previous experience making mods because in the 90s everyone made mods of everything, especially first-person shooters. And well, then usually creative directors are designers. Even in some companies they are lead designers or game directors or even producers. But yeah, in my experience, you go from level designer to game designer or whatever, and then lead or senior, and finally, because of your experience, you do that.
Thank you.
You are welcome. There's no shortcut for that. I mean, you cannot start in the industry as a creative director.
I think we have to stop there. Thank you so much, Raul. That was
Thank
really,
you.
really good.
Has been a pleasure.